Hello everyone, delighted to be here. Yeah, thanks for the intro, Elliot. My name is Dominic Sacco. I worked as Head of Content at the British Esports Federation for 4 years, and I produced a newsletter, so if any of you receive our weekly email newsletter, that's me curating all the news there and everything. Like Tom, I'm also a retro gamer, but I'm here because I played the games and I love the games, and I'm delighted to be chairing this panel because the British Esports Student Championships is something that I wish existed when I was a student, because I would have been entering it without doubt every time, every year, without fail. I'm going to go over to the panel. I'll start by asking you to introduce yourself, and if you could also follow that with a bit on why and how you entered the British Esports Student Championships, please.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So my name's Timson. I work as a lecturer at Cheshire College South and West, so it's been quite a journey to get here to this job today. I teach game design and esports, so this is our first full year now in esports, and pretty much I was brought on because I've already teaching game design. I have a general knowledge about the games that are being played, also play the games myself, so I saw it as a really big opportunity in general, really. I thought it would be a really good idea just to get involved with.
Hi, my name is Mark Lestrange. Think Harry Potter, I'm afraid, if you forget that. Yeah, red hair, I'm one of the bad guys, what can I say? I had 15 years of IT teaching. I ran what was called the Creative Pathway, so game development, animation, Blender, that's area, because anything other than teach Office. I had a PGCE before that in IT for secondary, and I moved into college because there were more opportunities to teach specialist areas, which I found motivated kids a lot more. When I found out about this, I wrote many emails to my SLT. I actually had somebody come down and say, please stop spamming SLT. My model was to actually run it because I thought this was what I would get through as a third year. So 16 to 19 curriculum funding, using it as a third year to add value, all the things we were talking about before, all those skills that we add to it. In 2 years, I'll have to say, on the shoulders of giants, people like Barnsley and QMC, I've managed to move this pretty much as a solo effort to we're one of the leaders in competition, and we have 2 cohorts, again with an introduction from Tom. We now have funding for a second room. We also have a TV studio. Right now it's being wrapped in vinyl, but shh, I didn't tell you that because they want to make it a big announcement, okay? So we're going from strength to strength. I've just got a level 4 passed with Plymouth University, so they'll be doing the 3rd year. So we have taken off like a bat out of hell from 11 students, 1 non-English speaker and 10 with EHCPs, to now 2 full cohorts and a level 4 passed. So we've come a very, very long way, very fast, because I don't like people saying no. Thank you.
Finn, you first. I'm Finney Hayward. I study here at Confetti on the esports course. I've taken part in the student champs for the last 2 years, and heard about the opportunity to do this, so just thought it'd be a good time to get in. Bit of experience.
Sorry, can I ask what game you played in the championship?
Overwatch.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I find it very suspicious Finn didn't introduce himself as the captain of Confetti's Arrows team.
Okay.
Which was correctly identified by Elliot before Finn came on. Me and Finn have got here by crossing the road, so we've not had to walk very far at all. I've been teaching games here at Confetti for 10 years. I've been working in esports separately to that for about kind of 7 years. The first time the champs became something we could publicly access, similar hammering down the door to our management, like, let me do this, let me do this, let me do this. We have no sports teams. Every college should have sports teams. Let me have this, it's a sports team. And between me and Ollie, we managed to get management to say yes to that. We managed to get some favours called in from technicians to get a room and access. Students bought in immediately. We've been able to consistently offer this, consistently scale up ever since. And then obviously as Confetti has adapted to more kind of production spaces, we've been able to get broadcasting on, we've been able to get more spaces for our students to play from. We've been able to get kind of bigger and bigger going along with that. So all due to that not taking no for an answer.
I think one of the great things about the championships is there are a lot of benefits from it. I think going back to when I was a student, there may have been more of that perception from people, from teachers and parents that, oh, it's just playing games, and they might not have seen the benefits. So maybe you could tell us a bit about the benefits, and also how the championships links in with qualifications as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the simplest way is actually just communication and talking to each other. With, as said, I suppose previously with COVID, we've had a lot of students that have come in and been quite introverted. College has been a very scary experience for a lot of them, where I've got to suddenly interact with all these people I don't know, and it's an interesting situation because as this esports year started, they've had to get to know each other and communicate with each other. And I think even from a simple base level of having that communication and that ability to actually, I suppose, communicate with not just others, but people like you guys with the student Discord and things like that, really opens pathways even just to this, and actually having those, I suppose, situations where you can talk to people that are in the industry already, because this is one thing we tend to find is when you are setting up for the esports, you don't necessarily have how do you get into a tournament or things like that, because everyone thinks about Worlds for League of Legends, all the big things, and that's all happened from streaming. But if you're not a big streamer, what do you do? So having the opportunity to actually play in teams and be involved as an opening point in general is really good. I think we were also talking about a variety of the different units and having that conversation of, well, this is actually not just playing the game. You are very much involved with health and fitness, you're involved with marketing, event management. There's these loads of varieties that the actual students get to try out, because that's the situation as well. We get a load of students that just go, oh, I like playing games are really good, and then they don't actually know what they want to do for a job. So when it comes down to it, we can say, oh, well, you didn't like fitness, but you really enjoyed streaming and you enjoyed actually shoutcasting and being involved on a more, I suppose, vocal level. Oh, you really actually enjoyed the nutrition section, going into PTs and actually doing more physical-based training as well is a different pathway. So I think even if it's the case that esports might not be necessarily the end goal as a whole, it allows the student to have that experience through a medium they already like.
Hands-on experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh,
Just,
thank you. There we go. Yeah, no worries.
just following on from that, before I go on to the other panellists, I was at an event, I know it's at a university level and it's slightly different, at the University of Chichester about a month ago, and it was the third years, and they were doing their sort of final esports broadcast event. It was the first thing they did on CSGO, and you know, they were doing everything, broadcast production, hosting, they had sponsors involved, and from that you could really see the students identifying areas that they wanted to work in that they wouldn't have had maybe in the first year of university.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
one was an amazing host. I said to him, "You're the next James Banks," and you know, he was, you know, you could see these areas of careers for them. You know.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that something you've seen?
Yes.
Mark?
There we go. Hang on. There we are. Yeah, I'm in a unique position because mine are third years, and as I said, that's how I managed to get it through. We're going to add value. Literally, our principal is a CEO, so it's not just a college, it's a business. So from a business perspective, I came at, why are we having happy customers for 2 years and then we're sending them off to other institutions? And I actually wrote rather unsubtly in one, are we ashamed of our provision? And that's when I got told to stop writing emails. But I managed to get that through. But I have students that have done 2 years of video production, 2 years of audio engineering, 2 years of public service, 2 years of acting to camera, as well as A-level students doing sort of maths, physics, science. That's, you know, that kind of IT-based student as well. So I first got 52 people applying. I chose 32, and the interview was, what are you going to bring to the party? What skills are you going to bring? Which it's starting at a sort of slightly higher level, if that makes sense. I'd love to be doing level 2 and level 3, but I'm under the constraints that I'm under. So we have managed to move it forward quite quickly, and those added value things have been how I sold it in the first place. So that's how I've been concentrating. That has got SLT to a certain extent on board. Certainly, it's not stops me. I haven't come across too many barriers up to this point. That I haven't been able to sort of kick down or go across. So it's those communication skills have come across to me really well. We had a corporate event where we had 16 companies come and play Rocket League. We got through, they all played 4 matches, and we did it in 3.5 hours and had a winner. We had the Met Office, the rugby chiefs, all the tech industries of the Southwest, and my students ran that. My students did meet and greet. My students did technical. My students did the live stream. I think at one point we had 1,400 on a live stream. We had 200 corporate guests in our building. All this was a professional corporate event. It wasn't a student for student event. And no, they do happen at a different level, you know. And it's showing off the college, so management were very worried that something would go wrong. But actually, they came out of it afterwards saying, well, I couldn't have if I paid £100,000, I could not have got that level of publicity, that level of engagement with employers. And I think that's been really key to us. I've shown how, even if they don't go into Esports, the fact that they can make you look good on Zoom, they can do live streaming, they can put events that are online and offline. You know, that combination that as we're doing today, that combination is how the world works now, and people do not have skills in that. So they're getting their existing skill set, they're adding massive amounts of added value, and a number of them are going on a really esport route. I mean, that's now they're going to university doing that's what they're going to do. So there's that direct employment, but from the beginning, I've been going this added value, this ability to apply yourself to jobs with existing skills, and then you take it that extra step further, and it really has been embraced by the Southwest tech industry.
That's brilliant. Finn, I'd love to hear from you as someone who's a player. You know, do you see skills improving in certain things, or is it for you at the moment very much a fun playing with teammates kind of thing?
You can kind of see like skills in all aspects of people improve just by getting involved in being in a team and the tournament. Especially over the 2 years I did it, I had similar teammates for the 2 years, and like even social skills, things like that, they improved massively just seeing them for 2 years. And people's in-game skill level also just like, I think it was the drive of wanting to win just made them tons better in just 2 years' time, which isn't too many in the scheme of it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And is it, you know, something I hear about the student champs as well, is students making friends. Is that it? Were you already friends with your team, or you made new friends through that?
No, pretty much everyone had just started college.
Okay, cool. Kyle, is there anything else you'd like to add on the benefits and skills?
Finn's case is a great one, because obviously while it was similar teammates, they weren't actually all from the same courses or even from the same kind of spheres. Obviously we've got thousands of students. One of the things that I wanted to say I thought was probably the best benefit is what it gives you for that kind of culture of the college itself. It gives them something to talk about that is a shared experience across courses. We have music students competing alongside game students. We've got games tech students competing alongside esports students at level 2 and level 3. We've made the tryouts open to everyone. We, as a result, have teams that are mixed from kind of all over students that otherwise wouldn't ever meet each other, despite the fact that they spend most of their time in the same place every week. So I think probably the biggest benefit that I would want us to continue to push is just this idea of they're all here in this one space. They are a community. How can we reinforce them behaving as a community, thinking of themselves as a community, having kind of symbols, teams to rally around?
Yeah, that's brilliant. I mean, now I'm a journalist here, so I look at the positives, but I will highlight some of the challenges as well, to be balanced and to be real. And I think for some schools and colleges, there have been challenges, technical issues, you know, talking to IT, getting firewalls sorted out or whatever else, technical issues. I've spoken to some colleges who've said to me they can get a little bit frustrated sometimes when the other team doesn't show up and they have no shows. What do we do there? What have there been what kind of solutions have you found, or how have you overcome these kind of challenges?
Oh, I mean, I think it's very difficult because we have had a few of those situations happen, whether it's been Discord or I think we had one situation with our league team where a patch came out the day before and the team we were playing couldn't get in touch with their IT. So that answer was pretty much we just can't play. We're very lucky in the situation where we've managed to organise something with our IT where we have some control over our own machines. So it has made it a bit easier on our end. But even when it comes to communication and chatting to people through Discord, it's been good, but there have been moments where it's come to, I suppose, because it's not necessarily chatting to someone, miscommunication happening every now and then as well. We've had that a bit with the rules too, where there hasn't been necessarily following of the rules. I think my main experience has been with League of Legends because I've been managing that team, and it's been a mixture of picking wrong champions, not having those characters, and then misunderstanding, listen, I'm picking this and this and this, and they're all texting each other, trying to understand who's picked what champion. And we have had a few students being quite frustrated at that. And
that happens at a high level, by the way. Pro players and things pick the wrong thing, they have to remake games. I've seen it happen in, like, back in the day, the ESL UK Premiership, players picking champions that aren't allowed in the rules because of different hitboxes and stuff. So that does happen at a high level. Yeah,
I think it is something that, on one hand, it's good to get used to because they're definitely not as pressured as they were. At the start, I think everyone was like, we want to play, we want to win, we want to do the best we can do. But as they sort of got into it, it was like, well, this is how it's going to happen. Just relax, it's okay. There's going to be technical difficulties, just expect them, just get yourself ready and we'll figure it out from there, you know. So it was definitely one of those things where, technically wise, we were in a lucky situation. But I think it's a difficult one. I think it's a mixture of the main issues we've had when it comes to IT has just been actually getting the PCs themselves. Management, we really had to just fight to get a room specifically for like a gaming arena, and then even to the point they weren't letting us paint the walls different colours. So we were trying to make it look more like a gaming arena, and it's like, no, it's not professional enough, it's not professional. And it's like, what do you mean? This is what they all look like. So we're trying to buy more LEDs at the minute, it's not happening. We're trying our best, it's really not happening, so.
Good luck, keep pushing.
Thank you.
I was going to say, actually, you know, there seems to be resistance, you know, with IT as well. Sometimes you'll get hit with it can't be done.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't work that way. And it's like, well, yes, it does, actually.
I definitely used to say the only team
work
that
that
could
way.
beat us was our own technicians.
Yeah. I think we are the technicians at this point. We've just decided that we have IT and then us, and I think we're just fighting at the moment. So we'll let you know how that goes.
Yeah.
How about you guys, Mark? Have you faced similar challenges?
I can echo a lot of that. It was originally when I cold called my 11 students with the 2 days' notice to start to start the course. I then pointed out on the spec that we have to have a team. The SLT then came up with, we do equine studies in sport. We don't buy them horses. So so from that position, I moved up. So I got 11 1080 cards, so 1060 cards, and it worked very slowly from that. We still have to get somebody from another building to come and put in admin password for an update. And it's like, what do you mean we don't have a 3-month lead time? No, it needs updating today. I have an IT technician I get on with. He loves gaming. He literally just runs, and I'm going to get him in trouble. He runs over and does it in the middle of another job, and he doesn't even put it down on a job sheet, right? Love him. Love him. I can't name him. I would love to name him, but I can't name him just in case.
Quite lucky for them that you're not in charge of horses, Mark.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But no, because we won, and this is down to the BEF, because we won in the championships on Division 2 for League of Legends, and this was on the news. SLT spat out the the tea. This was a in my own time activity I did. Elliot said, "You can't start 6 teams." I said I wasn't very good at no. We had 6 teams. We ran them to the end. Nobody gave up. And this year we're going to have 9. Yeah, wow. I think we were planned on 9. And we came with, what, 5th in Overwatch, joint 5th in Overwatch, 2nd in Valorant, because that sort of finals happened. I wish it was all together. And we're competing for 2 more Division 1s this weekend. But how I managed to run this, because I am basically, it's me, this is Esports at Exeter, is, and Elliot, thank goodness, thank you Elliot, wherever you are in the darkness, for making this possible. I said, I cannot start 6 matches by myself all at once. I need my 18-year-olds to do this. And he went, okay, well, we'll look at this, safeguarding. And he really put in some effort, and Alice did too. And we got to the position where they were doing the communications and I was doing the problem solving. And that made it possible. So at another level, it was student run. My students, being third-year students, ran the teams. They did the team management. I'm there to solve problems. So I said, my role here is as consultant. Fix your problems. If there's something you need to inform me of, inform me. Sometimes I'll say, just you go fix it, and sometimes I'll take over. So always refer to me. So it truly is student-led, because I have 33 on a course and 77 players, and it is just me. You know, so the only way I can do it is to get the students to run it, and that has been so powerful for their confidence and everything else. So that's how it's worked for us.
And just taking a moment there, 77 players. You know, when you've got sports teams at a school, you don't have 77 people that want to play for the school football team, really. You know, it just shows you the demand there at that level. Kyle, Finn, is that anything you want to add on the challenges front and how you've handled that?
I was going to say our captain is perfectly positioned to talk about the scheduling.
Not great.
Some of the communication from the other teams can traditionally not be great. It's one of those things, like, particularly because we've still almost just about in a pandemic. You have, like, everything will be fine, everything will be scheduled, and then you get that call 2 hours before your match is supposed to start. Two of your players, 3 of your players have got COVID. They're not coming in, they're not on site. There's been a little bit of flexibility to get people in from home, but obviously you're then bringing in completely different equipment that may not be updated. We had to stall one of our matches while somebody reinstalled Overwatch on their home machine. So we're like, we're trying, please just give us 5 more minutes.
I think that was with
literally on the phone.
I think we played that game.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, no,
Finn was literally on the phone to one of his players, trying to get him guided through the setup, as I'm messaging the other management, like, I'm so sorry. This is completely unplanned,
No, I'd really like to thank the other teachers, because some of these things go wrong at other ends, and I have to say people have been amazing. People have been really understanding, really, you know, it's like nobody has ever called a forfeit on us, and we've never called it on anybody, unless I've disappeared for 2 weeks and then you find out they don't have a team anymore, which is a different situation. Everybody's gone, yeah, we'll make it work on Tuesday, or we'll play 2 matches next Wednesday. We'll make this happen. So you guys have really made this doable. All these barriers, everybody's really gone out of their way to remove them and really cooperate. And so the guys, you know, really, I heart you all. You know, it's been really nice playing with a bunch of teachers with the same mindset. Yeah. And it's been
because I've only got 50, so the idea of your 70 terrifies me. Like, if I had to take all of the stress that I already have from the 50 I've got and then multiply that by another half, that would kill me off.
With the people on the course and the players that I actually had 100 in 2 rooms, and they gave me an enabler because legally I couldn't have that many, right? So the enabler is very good at drawing, and she spends her time doing artwork. So it's still just me, basically. But we have another body there in case something goes wrong, because apparently I can't run 2 rooms and have 100 students. But I'm not running it. I'm the problem solver. I'm where they go if they can't fix it or if they need advice on fixing it, because I make them run it. And that giving them responsibility for stuff that, you know, so one of the team managers, their team is heavily invested in winning. If they manage them badly, they get grief, you know? So there's an 18-year-old managing a bunch of other teenagers, and they, you know, that responsibility, that ownership is really powerful and a way of allowing them to move into an adult workspace.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid in college I don't believe we do that very well, and in schools we don't do that very well. We make lip service to it, but esport is a way of actually making that happen.
You want it to run itself so that they can then do it for themselves when you're not there. So they can do it for real, essentially.
Yes, it's for real.
Jin, to check.
I think the thing that people sometimes forget as well is that these student champs have been around for whatever it is now, 4 or 5 years. It's still a relatively new thing, and to be doing a national, tournament week in, week out is a challenge. And I think British Esports has done very well, seeing it both working internally and then more externally. It's a big deal. There's however many hundreds of students around the UK taking part now. It is a challenge, and to see the finals. I think we've got the finals, haven't we, this weekend? That's going to be really exciting as well. Now, I think there's about 4 minutes left here. I don't know if we've got time for question. We do. So I've got on my list here, I was going to say, advice for other schools and colleges looking to get involved. But if anyone has any questions, we can do a direct sort of bit of advice. Anyone got a question? Hands up. Yep.
People out there, haven't they?
I know.
Someone over there. Yeah.
What would you recommend for a teacher who's just about to start kind of running a team?
Run away, run away.
Get your technicians on side.
Yeah.
Bribe them, give them whatever it takes. Do it under the table if necessary. Just make sure they're on your side, even if nobody else is.
You want to have as much control as possible, don't you?
Yeah.
In any shape or form, whether that's technicians or yourself. Just make it so that Wednesday, when it happens, everything, because it won't go well when you start, it's just what happens, isn't it? There's technical issues. Just put it in such a way that you can line it up that you're not overwhelmed by everything, because it is quite a chaotic experience for a while, I think. I don't think it ever gets any
It's still
easier.
chaotic now, to be honest.
You're on it, you know exactly what you're doing.
And again, very reflective of professional esports. It is chaotic. The people that run those events, you'd be surprised how last minute things can be, the top tier. I hope that's helped. There was someone else here with a question. Yep, yourself.
I'm representing Westlands College, Mansfield. We're starting Esports in September. As a whole, how did you go? Sorry. Also, we're starting at Esports in Mansfield, West Notts College, but how did you go about selecting your core team? Do you allow all your students to play, and then you pick out the best, and you let them play every competition, or...?
So what we've done traditionally is we've held open tryouts for each game. We set a particular time, a particular evening, we set up all the equipment we need, and we take kind of open for that. Now, the first time we got a reasonable number of applicants for that. That was great. The second time we got an overwhelming number of applicants for that. So what we then had to do was we had to filter that slightly. So we were like, okay, the people who had excellent citizenship, excellent studentship, automatically, we'll invite them. For everybody else, okay, well, if you're not attending your actual classes, we could potentially use this to get you kind of more into that. If we need to cut people out, it will be these people who we can't rely on actually turning up. So that was a big one for us. But essentially, we tried to make it as open as possible. We went straight to our database of students. We got the list of every student we had that would be eligible in terms of their age, so the 16 to 18s. We exported that list. We set up a Google form just to get kind of basic details for them. Which games would they be interested in? What ranks would they be? And then we were able to use that to kind of form invitations for those specific open tryouts. That would be my advice to do it.
Yeah, it's very similar, but I'm more Machiavellian than you. We literally have a form, because again, I had 150 students the first year down a corridor all wanting to try out. And I had 4 team captains, and they were looking at me like, what do we do with the 150 students? And it was COVID, and they had to spread out to 2 meters, and they ran out of the stairs down the, and, you know, it really was quite incredible. So this time we do actually have a sort of minimum rank, quite low, a minimum rank to show they have a competency in the game. Then we break them into different groups and we try them together as a team, see how they communicate. So I have somebody looking at how they communicate. And again, this is student run. So the students are doing this and they're reporting back to me. So the students are actually choosing the people. Now, I do not do it based on academic, turning up, anything like that, because I found some of the students that don't turn up to classes, then go to eSport, then I can leverage it. So we've done it that way, if that makes sense. So there are
Once ours start, we get them on kind of player contracts that are kind of a mix of all the behavioural stuff.
we
This
do
then
that.
says, like, once you sign up for us, even if your attendance was bad to start with, I expect that you will now attend all of the sessions.
Yeah.
And if I hear from your course leaders that you're not, you will be benched, you will be removed.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
will find
now
someone
how
to replace you.
we do. Yeah, so we have a player contract, but initially on the selection, I'll take anybody if they're a good player, if that makes sense.
Just conscious of time, I think I've been told we've got time for one more question. So is there anyone else with a question? Dave?
Hi. So Dave from British Esports. So it's wonderful to hear this. What can we do for you, each of you? Just let us know one thing. How do we help you with some of these challenges that you have?
I think one big thing for us, was the rule set realistically. I think if there was a way of when entering the actual championships, having some way that each teacher, each lecturer, and we showed our students as well, an understanding of what the rules are happening, because in pick and bans, things like that, it did get muddy in certain, some majority were completely fine, but I think having that clarity through all lecturers and teachers that they understand this is what's happening really helps, because Discord obviously is the best thing for us, and as gamers in general we all use Discord, but not all colleges or high schools use Discord, so having maybe the communication on the site is okay, but maybe having that universal everyone's in one spot would be easier as well.
You could do a Q&A, a group chat, where students call in and they ask questions to British Esports. You could do one at the start of this year or something, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I totally agree. One communication platform. So I've got my phone, I've got the computer open, I've got 3 tabs open. I'm looking at email, I'm looking at Teams, I'm looking at Discord, and I never know how I'm going to be contacted
just
by a
chaotic,
student.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
that
Yeah.
the communication side. If it could be in one platform, preferably Discord, though I understand. I mean, it took me a year to get Discord.
You'll figure it
So
out. It's fine.
yeah,
It's all
it
right.
took a year for us to be allowed to use Discord. So that was through safeguarding. So I do understand that's an issue, but it is my preferred platform. But I do understand the issues with that. So could you do one thing? Yeah. Could you give us really advanced notice when stuff happens? I know that sounds, because a college needs a 3 to 4 months lead to book a hotel room. Really, I know it's ridiculous. We come from a massive organisation. It has to go through different departments, and then it gets thrown back, and it goes round in circles. And you'd think these things would be easy. No, lead time. Communications is the big one, but
Yeah.
the small one would be lead time, so that we know that, you know, who's playing in the final at what time, and exactly like 4 months in advance. And I know that sounds an unreasonable request, but colleges do not work quickly. So.
Kyle, sorry to rush you. We're
I
a
say,
bit
I
over
don't-
time.
this is
so
going to be the
briefly.
triple Virgo in me, but there are 2 different pages for rules for each of the games, and the rules don't always match between the landing page for the game and the actual rules for them. So basically, just if there is a more consistent attempt to maintain those 2 rule sets as being identical, that would work so much more effectively for us. Even stuff like the lobby codes, we ended up producing our own Overwatch lobby code that we would then give to all our opponents, because it was essentially what was asked for in the rules, but that the rules didn't quite match the lobby code that was provided for much of the time. And I would just really quick like to hand over to...
So from like a student standpoint, a lot of the players would have liked to see like more promotion in what they're doing, because it was kind of like a weekly highlight of just like 1 or 2 games, whereas a lot of players involved were kind of like proud of what they were doing and would have just liked to seen maybe their self in it more, a couple more times.
Yeah, I think as more teams are starting to come in as well, that would be really good. I think, especially, did you say you had 8 or 9 teams happening this year,
Yeah,
didn't you?
we have a
So-
TV studio and a whole streaming setup. So we send it across the college from our mixing desk. And so we're pretty, I'm very, very media driven. So we've done a lot of our own streaming. But I have to say, Elliot and his gang do a better stream than we do at the moment. We're catching up.
Team profiles and interviews, I did a few back in the day. One got to the front page of the Overwatch subreddit, which is amazing. So you can see pro players are going to be
Say
reading that.
you interviewed us in the
That was
in the
it.
first year.
Yeah, a while ago. So yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Thanks very much to the panelists today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks very much. Over to Elliot.